Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to leave her husband? My sister, 28, is in an emotionally abusive marriage, and she has admitted that to me. I've played nice to her husband, 30, for the past few years, even though I knew how he truly was to her behind closed doors. The incident that happened that finally made me and my whole family step up and say something to him and her was this. We went on a week-long family trip, and at the end of that trip he treated her so badly. There was a theater room in the rental house, and we were all watching a movie. He asked her to get up from her comfortable chair to go and cuddle with him. She declined because her chair was more comfortable than his, and she was in front of her entire family and didn't want to cuddle. The entire next day after the cuddling incident, he stonewalled her. He would hold their 11-month-old son and not let her have him even when the baby called out for his mama. After lunch, we decided to walk along a boardwalk, and that's when things took a turn for the worst. During the car ride, none of the family was in the car with them. He said he didn't know what the fuck was wrong with her and that he was going to go home when we all got back to the rental. Then he finished with a "fuck you." My sister said she didn't say anything back to him, 1, because she was in shock, and 2, because she didn't know what she did to make him so angry. My family naturally saw how upset my sister was and stepped in. My mom and I took the baby from him and took my sister aside, while my dad and my husband had a talk with him. My dad told him he was acting like a little bitch and to go home if he was going to act like that. My husband said, "Let's go get the car seat out of your car, and you can leave." He then opened up to my husband and said, when she refused to cuddle with me, it made me feel like she was disgusted by me. He decided not to go home after all, and instead have an adult conversation with my sister where he told her it was her fault that he acted that way. He continued to stonewall her for the rest of the trip and the next 2 days after they got back home. Before we left the rental, I told my sister she should leave him because we are all afraid that he will turn physically abusive toward her and maybe their son too. He's highly unstable and has guns because he's a cop. Also, he's in mandatory therapy from his work because they too think he's unstable. Note: a few things I forgot to mention. This happened a few weeks ago, and my sister and Bill have since had a discussion. She has decided to stay with him, but she is looking for a therapist for herself. She asked him to go to couples counseling, but he refused. He got a job in a different state and is now going to be moving them a few states away from everyone. She will be at least 6 hours away, and we are all so scared for her, but we can't force her to leave him. Update: my sister sat down with him and told him that she was looking for a therapist and that she was unsure about the move. He seems to think it's because of her anxiety about it being such a big move and nothing more. He did tell her that he could look for a job in our state if she really wanted it. But she decided she wanted to focus on going to therapy first to learn how to communicate better with him. She found a therapist and was emailing with them to set up an appointment when her husband suddenly decided they need to get their house listed. I feel like he deliberately waited for her to find a therapist to do this. He doesn't know when his new job starts. He is scheduled to go back to police academy for 6 months starting in June, which means they really wouldn't be moving until probably around mid to late May. So why would they need to list their house right now? Like I said, it seemed very calculated and deliberate to stop her from going to therapy, and it worked. I feel like I have done everything I can for my sister at this time. She knows if she ever needs anything I will be there, but that's all I can do. Update 2. First of all, thank you to everyone that gave advice in my first post. Since my sister decided to not go to therapy, I have noticed some changes. For one thing, when I went to their house last weekend, I noticed that my Bill now parks behind my sister's car, blocking her in. He never used to park his truck there, so I thought it was weird that he suddenly started. My sister now acts as if the big incident never happened, just like her husband does. She did ask my mom and I to not bring it up anymore and to play nice. She really wants to make the marriage work and wants to, quote, give him another chance. Obviously, the rest of the family feels a little disappointed and very scared for her. I have since had to tell her mom to not call me and rant about my sister anymore. The stress of that situation was taking me to a dark place mentally, and I will not go there again. Especially for someone that is clearly not ready. My mom seemed a little disappointed in me for prioritizing my own mental health over my sister's, but she'll just have to deal with that. I have my own husband and life to put my energy in, and I feel much happier not thinking about my sister's relationship all the time. My own therapist has reassured me that I have done everything that I can, and that my sister just isn't ready to leave her husband yet. Update 3. Okay, so a few things have happened since I last updated. First of all, my sister and her husband did not end up moving. He had a psych evaluation for the new job and a week later was told he was no longer a good fit. So that's one crisis averted. The rest of the family have only had to see him once since the terrible trip on my nephew's first birthday. He barely spoke to anyone, which was fine with us because we didn't want to be around him anyway. We're planning another family trip in September, a kind of redo. When my sister told her husband about it, he said, "You realize I'm not going, right?" She told him that was fine, but that she was still going, and she was taking their son. He said he figured she would. I have a gut feeling that even though she says she's going, that she won't end up going. I think a few weeks before he'll start acting out, so she won't go, but we'll see. My mom still calls me to vent, but I think I upset her last week. My mom said she felt bad for my sister for always being in the middle and having to try to figure out how to make everyone happy. I told her I did not feel bad for my sister anymore because she chose that when she chose to stay with him. When she chose to stay with him, she had to know that the rest of us would never see him the same and that we don't like him. That even though she chose to forgive him, the rest of us can't simply forget how he treated her. My mom was clearly upset that I could be so heartless, but I just don't have the time and energy to constantly worry about my sister. Especially when she chose this by staying with him. My sister knows if she needs me, I'm there for her, and I feel like that's the most important thing.